Hi, guys.
We are
Hi,
live.
we are live. Okay, you guys, welcome to tonight's What's Your Color conversation. Tonight, we're talking with four men who are giving us some insight to the male perspective of being co-survivors, aka caretakers. Um, I'm Selena Conmackey. I'm the director of marketing, and I'd love to introduce Julie Mosier, our founder of Pink Warrior Angels of Texas. And I kind of want to ask her, before we bring the men in, what does a co-survivor mean?
So, a co survivor is somebody who is going through the cancer battle with their person. So, whether it's their spouse, their child, their mom, their dad, the best friend, um, they are co survivors because they're also going through a lot of this as well.
Yeah, I didn't, until I joined the organization, I had not known that that is something that we did call ourselves. You hear the word caretaker, which a lot of people do know, but co-survivors, it really resonated with me. And when you had told me, the thing that I have in common with our guests that are coming on today is we are all co-survivors. And but the difference is that, we're going to get a male perspective, which sometimes you don't get a lot of. And we really thought this topic was super important. And it came because after our last live with Julie and I, Bob had popped in for a hot minute when we're all backstage, and he just said something that made me think like, man, this is a conversation you need to have. And also watching him on the Moving with the Military show, of him explaining that process of Julie kind of, going through cancer. And so here came our thing, and Julie reached out to a lot of other great men that wanted to join the conversation tonight. So we're really excited. So
I'm excited because not only that, we know each one of these very personal, very closely. Obviously, my husband's here too, but every person that is going to be coming on, every co-survivor has a special place in my heart. I know for sure, but that we've gotten to really know them and be a part of their life and part of their journey themselves too.
I'm excited. I just want to say really a fast, quick thank you to Crystal, who is backstage helping Julie and I manage the show today. She is our social media coordinator and our live stream producer. So thank you so much, Crystal. We appreciate you. So with that being said, we'd love to have Crystal bring in our guest, and we are going to go do some introductions with everybody. So when they pop on, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Yay! Oh my gosh, I love it. I'm going to go
Jay, for the jazz hands.
Yes. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do a quick introduction. I'd love to introduce our first two guests, which is Jay and Ryan. And I'd love to ask, we talk about what's your color as a great conversation starter. So I'm going to start with Ryan and just, say hello. What is your color? And then we'll get to Jay, and then Julie's going to go ahead and say hello to the other two guests.
Hello, I'm Ryan Kimball, and my color is gold. Yay. Or yellow.
Can we ask why gold or yellow? What does that represent for you?
Yellow or gold represents Ewing sarcoma, and my daughter was diagnosed with Ewing sarcoma last September.
I know you're going to have a lot of great stuff to share tonight with everybody. So welcome, Ryan. We really appreciate you being here. Let's shift over to Jay real fast.
My pleasure.
Yeah. Hi, Jay. Welcome.
Hello.
So tell us what's your color, what that represents for you.
So my color is pink. It happens. My wife was diagnosed with stage 3C breast cancer 5 years ago this year.
Yay, 5 years.
5 years. We just passed it. So we're past that, but still continuing.
Yeah. So for those that don't understand, hitting the 5-year milestone is a big it's a big milestone. So we celebrate Nikki all month long, and she's celebrating all month long for sure. We're celebrating with you, Nikki. Look, I know you're watching.
We have Nikki here. She is supporting her husband tonight, which is fantastic. Thanks, Nikki. And thank you, Jay. So I'm going to have Julie. She's going to kind of introduce her two guests. So go take it away, Julie.
So of course, I want to bring in Bob Mosier, who is my husband of almost 15 years, guys. We were doing the math the other day, and I was like, it's going to be 15 years this October. What the heck?
Right?
So,
It's funny.
so there's Bob, and so
Yeah.
we get Bob pulled up there. Bob, what is your color?
All right. So my color obviously is pink, especially since Julie's battling breast cancer. Again, we'll be done with radiation on Friday, so
I'm excited for that.
we're all excited.
For sure. And then our other guest is John Considine. John, what is your color?
My color is also pink. My wife, Marilee, was diagnosed in 2010 with breast cancer, and unfortunately passed away just a little over 2 years ago in 2019.
Like, I cannot even remotely fathom that it's been 2 years. We always have her close in our hearts, so I always feel she's with us for sure. So a lot of pink, and just FYI, I am a big magenta pink type person. Everybody has their different shades of pink, and of course, if you look at our branding that we have, we use different colors of pink, and of course, we talk about all cancers as well. So we try to put in not so much a rainbow effect, because that belongs to our other friends, but it's more of a watercolor type, different rainbow of colors. And so you'll see that on all our screens and our documents and stuff. So just kind of want to point that out, because it's important to us for sure. But I'm excited.
Yeah.
So Selena, that is it.
Yeah.
What's next? What
Okay,
can I talk about?
so me and Julie were talking all day about just kind of like how we wanted the show to go. And so I reached out to 3 mental health therapists that are in my close circle. And I wanted to ask them to give me some great questions that we can ask. Again, you don't see a lot of the male perspective around. I'll be honest, I was even Googling like, how do men get support? And I couldn't find anything that was readily there. And so I felt like that there has to be a need for others to kind of gain that support. So anyway, they all quickly reached out with so many questions that I had to kind of like go from like 30 questions to 5. So, but what we're going to do, well, Julie and I are going to go around and ask you guys our questions. And, if you're watching us and you have a question also, please drop that in the comments and say hi to the guys. And, again, I want to really thank John, Jay, Bob, and Ryan for kind of taking the time to like allow us to all be vulnerable. Ryan and I joked a little bit in the back, like, are we going to need Kleenex tonight? So I don't know,
It's
So-
a possibility.
Yeah, possibility, right, John? Yeah, we're all ready. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with the first question. And what we'll do is we'll kind of move around our screen from John to Jay to Bob to Ryan. So John, sorry you have to start us off first. I hope that works. Okay, so we're going to go with the first question and we're going to have that pop up. But one of the questions from the therapist had said, how has caregiving impacted your sense of identity? And is it different or similar to expectations in the past? And so we'll have John start us off and how you felt it changed your sense of identity.
Well, that's definitely something that I've actually thought about a little bit recently as I'm trying to figure out how I continue to move forward after the last 2 years. But I think one of the hardest parts of it is as a caregiver, especially as if you unfortunately get to the point where like Marilee was on hospice there at the end, and it got to a point where before we made that decision that was my sole purpose in life anyway, but that was all I was doing. It was like everything, I still had to work. So it was, go to work, make sure that, I'm there at whatever critical times, made sure I went to the appointments. So it's real easy to lose kind of your sense and as far as what you, want to be able to do. And it's hard to accept or take time for yourself and figure out, okay, how do you want to, um, spend some time to kind of get a reprieve because, I mean, it's exhausting. And, as I'm sure everyone here will attest, regardless of how long you've been in it, in the caregiver role is you have a lot of peaks and valleys, and um, when you're on the peak, you're good to go. Everything you're maybe in remission, but those valleys, it's real easy to lose. Um, kind of where you are because this whole thing called cancer just completely upended both of your worlds, and
Yeah.
you get to the point where you just can't do what you thought you were going to be doing when y'all started your lives together.
Yeah.
Yeah. When this question came through and I hadn't thought about it, I mean, you think about it, but you go through the sense of identity for myself, but just like, I'm the daughter of, you know what I mean? And my role is this. And a lot of the question that I come from the mental health therapist is that sometimes you lose yourself in this role of caretaking because you're so immersed in it. And I hadn't thought about that. And then on the flip side is, you guys are men and you're supposed to be strong and be that person that holds us together. And so if that pressure is a lot, and John, thank you for sharing that part. I'm going to shift over into Jay and ask him kind of what his thoughts are on this question. I can move you over there. No, that's Bob. You're Bob. Hey, you know what, Bob? No worries. We'll start with you, so we don't. Bob, how now that Julie has been re-diagnosed, and like you've gone through a lot of stages of who you are.
From like the original diagnosis, I wasn't even in the same country when Julie got the word that she had cancer.
Yeah.
I was over in Afghanistan, and of course, that day that I got the message, weather had moved in, so I couldn't leave where I was at for like another week.
Yeah.
So just sitting there and stewing on it. Luckily, I was with a good group of guys. They kind of like picked me up, put me back on my feet.
Yeah.
Went and worked out all the time just to kill time, to get my mind off of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I got home, I think we were both emotionally exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
And then just went right into it. And then the second time, we kind of had a feeling, but we didn't want it to be what we thought it was. And then just getting our minds right after we had our little emotional events.
Of course.
And just trying to get like the unknown. Was the biggest thing. Like, how is she gonna feel? How am I gonna be able to help her? Is she gonna be sick like she was when she went through chemo? It's
a lot to consider, honestly.
Yes.
It really is. It really is a lot to consider. But even as survivors, we, as we talk about survivor stuff, we talk about we need to make sure we have self-care and that we need to block out the negatives of other people on social media and that we need to be who we are. But who are we? Once we're going through cancer, we become a different person because we're fighting. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no. Bob, thank you so much just for sharing that. And you can just kind of see like some of the emotion that comes with talking about it. You know what I mean? And this is why we want to have the conversation, because I think that there could be a lot of other husbands, spouses, dads, which is, we have Ryan today that is a father, but going through the same thing. And I just, this is like the helper in me. I want to make sure we say to them, hey, they understand, and it's okay to talk about it. So Bob, thank you for kind of being vulnerable and sharing all that stuff. Hey Jay, you are at the top of the side. There we go. There's Jay. So Jay, we know your wife Nikki, and we absolutely love and adore her, Julie and I. And so tell us a little bit about how caregiving has impacted your sense of identity.
Well, it's changed a lot in life. All four of us here have a military background and are used to taking care of people. Like that's what you do.
Yeah.
So taking care of the person, that's your job. But the real big issue is the helplessness. Yeah, I can change dressings all day and do whatever I can do. But at the end of the day, that's all that I can do. I'm just a shoulder to cry on. I'm just a tool. Like at the end of the day, I can't do anything for her.
Yeah.
Except for be there. And sadly, we're going through this again. With her current surgery and stuff. So it doesn't really stop. Even when the cancer's gone, there's still everything else going.
Yes, and you made a great point. And for those that don't know, who have not been impacted by cancer, it is not when treatment is done. There is still residual effects that happen mentally, physically, whether you gained weight with steroids or your bones are hurting and the weather changes and you're like, I can't walk anymore. There's so much to it. But Jay, you also hit on another good point is that, sometimes all you can do is just be there. And that is more help than most realize. Just being present is key. Yeah. And it means a lot because you can't help it. You can't take it away. You can't take the feelings away. But yes, you're the shoulder to cry on, but sometimes just being present is what we need. And that's hard for those that are not close to their survivor friend, even know what to do, especially with the whole guy thing. Guys don't talk about emotions. Guys don't get in their feelings. They just go and be angry about something and nobody knows what's wrong with them. So I mean,
we'll be honest.
That's one of the questions too.
Right. I mean, literally when Julie and I were like, Bob, and he was like, nope, I'm good. I will talk to you. And then we were like, come on. And then Julie's like, I'll work on him. You know what I mean? So, okay. Thank you so much, Jay. I adore you guys too. The Gatsbys are fantastic people. Here's another gentleman that I absolutely love. And he made me cry during the Runway of Hope because he is a father to one of our youngest runway models. And he's just so supportive, so fantastic. So we'd love to bring Ryan up. And thank you, Ryan, for being here. You're amazing. So as a father and a husband, just like how has the caregiving impacted your sense of identity and what has it done for you? Oh, wait, you're muted for some reason. Is it me?
I did it on
accident. Oh, there he is. Oh, no. I was like, we want to hear what you say.
The identity, it's totally changed our outlook of life, especially I don't have a spouse that's gone through it. I have a daughter, which is different. And so at first I'm like, why can't it be me? Why does it have to be my daughter? But okay, I should have gotten tissues.
I know. If I could give you mine, I would. Right. Yeah. Go ahead, Ryan.
I wasn't out of the States, but I could feel for Bob. I was a truck driver at the time, and I was in Louisiana. And I was driving a big truck because I normally drove hot shot. So I would have normally been around Texas and Arkansas, but the company that I was driving for at the time needed me to go a long haul. And so I was just doing the thing that I was doing and got the call to pull over as soon as you can safely. And I was like, I can't do that. And they're like, well, it was my pastor that called me, and he normally doesn't call me. He usually just texts. And so my chest stopped and I lost, I couldn't hardly breathe. And so I was like, okay, I'll pull over. And so he told me that Libby had cancer in her leg, and I was like, no,
Yeah.
and then she might have to have an amputation, and I'm like, no, she dances and sings. That's not going to happen, you know.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
identity at that moment changed. So our identity now is nothing but like cancer survivor and cancer and pink warrior angels and
Mhm.
just surrounding us, just surrounding ourselves with different support and support systems. And so the identity of care has totally um, gave us a different outlook on what caregiving, especially being a father. You know, uh, she didn't like to be emotional, and so as she would go through her chemo and especially she never got sick. She never took medication or so this is the first time she's getting a poke. This is the first time getting surgery, and it's just like changed her life. So Sheree and I had to be really strong because if she saw us cry, then she would cry, you know.
Right.
So I had to be the backbone. Sheree was the go getter to like, no, this is she has this appointment. I was just being the rock and the backbone of keeping everybody not emotional, not having Libby see us get emotional because we didn't want her to break down, you know. So
Yeah.
I was always there holding her hand when she got a stick.
Yeah. No, I mean, Ryan, no, it's tough. It's tough, I think, because as a parent, which I understand, I'm a parent, you know, you're leveling in a different way of where you need to, like, I hate the word pivot, but just like, you know, you're thrown into this. Like, I mean, I remember when my mom told me that my father had cancer, it just changed every single thing about my life, even though I was only a junior in high school. It just, everything, like you said, the identity became like, all of a sudden it wasn't carefree. It was just like our identity was, we are now children of a cancer warrior. You know what I mean? And that's what predominantly has just been a lot, like a big part of my identity, you know, is that. So Ryan, trust me, I'm like, this issue here is for you. So we're going to move on, and I'm actually going to switch over to question 3 because I think it's like you guys all touched in on this, right, Julie? So I'll let you, Julie. Why don't you handle this question for the guys?
Well, okay. So the question is how do you handle self-care, and where do you, as a guy, as the co-survivor, find support?
Mm-hmm. So let's start with John.
Um, well, we'll tell you, not very well.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, I, I mean, I really, I guess I find a lot. Probably found the most support was after the trip Marilee and I made to Orlando with the Young Survivor Coalition.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I got you know, connected into the Facebook group for the survivor, or not the survivor, but for the caregiver. Um, and I don't necessarily say, I don't really ever say anything on there, um, but just kind of being able to read through the conversations that you know people are having, seeing the struggles that you know other um, men are kind of dealing with. It kind of helps to at least show that okay, I'm not alone in the way I feel. It's not abnormal or anything like that. Um, so I mean, most of the time, as far as just kind of um, the biggest support I got was from the rest of our family. Whether it's going down and hanging out with my parents, my brother, and them, and or going up with hanging out with Marilee's family, and just um, you know, we were always very big in doing stuff with family anyways. And that was always a, you know, kind of a big help, because then we were able to, you know, at least for a short period of time, just not really think about, you know, the treatments that we were going through or the treatment that was coming up or anything like that. So I still pretty much rely pretty heavily on family. I don't really go outside um, too much, and it's just kind of a I probably hold stuff in still a little more than, you know, I probably should. Um, you know, and you know, as uncomfortable as things like today are in doing things like this, and you know, typically I wouldn't you know, volunteer to do it, but um, you know,
John, yeah, I'm gonna put all of us actually on the screen, and I think that's the whole point of, you know, you taking the willingness to come today is something that I'm sure a lot of men face.
Yeah, it's huge, and
Mhm.
because I personally know the Considine and the Durbin family really well,
Mhm.
for us, we don't have that family connection other than our own kids for Bob and I. So even when I'm with the Considine family, there is this network of love. And I think it's wonderful that, John, you have that support, because not everybody has that. And being military, you know, we find out our family is where we are stationed. You know, you find that other set of family. I mean, Selena, your family's in Hawaii, you know,
Right.
so different places we have to really mend ourselves together. And I can tell you, John is hard headed, and we would just go and we would show up because, you know, that's what we do for Pink Wear Angels anyway. Our mission is to help and make sure that families know that they're not alone. And sometimes we just come because my experience is, unfortunately, I know what people need per se, that sometimes I don't even know what they need. And so just as John, 2 years, I mean, it's hard. It's hard for me, being very close. And it's like, oh, hey, you know what?
Yeah.
John, you go hang out with the kids. We're going to go hang out with Mary Lee. Or we go to a game or something. Or, you know, when we run up there to go hang out and barbecue because John's cooking, and it's me and Mary Lee's mom, you know, God bless her. We was in the kitchen. You know, we didn't ask him if he needed help. We just did, because that's sometimes what we need. You know, he probably could use a vacation right about now too, right, John? Like, we could all use a vacation right now. I mean, COVID doesn't help everything for the last year either for any of us, regardless. But you know, so John finds support and comfort in his family because they're very tight knit.
Yeah.
Jay, what about you? How do you handle your self-care, and where do you find your support and comfort?
With lots of VA medications and a dark sense of humor.
Hey, as long as you're not mixing it with tequila, you're okay.
There's no promises here. You know, it's finding just like John said, you just bury it for the most part, sadly, and most of it just becomes a mission set, and you do what you need to do. Most of the support and comfort that I find is just in living. And we stay busy. We're constantly out doing stuff, because you've got to live in the moment. You never know when you won't have that moment. So you gotta get out and party now.
Party now.
Jay's a realist. Jay doesn't come in with, you know, false senses of hope and what have you. So you got to party like it's 1999.
Right. So Jay, on the like finding support and comfort, just kind of like as a male, as like, you know, the head of the household, like, do you have a support that is outside of do you have a Facebook group? Is there anywhere that you go?
So my mom is a big help, a good ear to bend. The other one is, you know, I've got 2 life mates from the Army that I can complain to at any point in time. And they're always there with a pat on the back or a kick in the butt, whatever I may need at that point.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
so good because that's important because girls are really good about being in their little circles and emotionally cry and hormonal cry and all that. Guys are not, but I'm glad that you have that because that's important for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
What about you, Ryan? How do you handle self-care and where do you find your support?
I find support with my friends and family. We do have a small, actually, it's not small anymore. We have a huge support from our church family. Now, Pink Warrior Angels, oh man, I know I'm going to be,
All the things.
I'm going to have flack for this because the alpaca farm.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
She's amazing. Yeah.
Who doesn't love alpacas?
And so Davenports, the Davenports, there we go.
Yes, Davenport's. Yeah.
I totally redeemed myself.
Yeah, for sure.
But our church family was amazing. And, you know, my mother-in-law, she packed up all of her things and moved down to just help us out in this time of need. And I really have to really thank her because that was a selfless act that she didn't have to do. And so she literally just, you know, she's on the verge of selling her house and she packed everything up and sold a lot of things and just moved in and just to help us out. And she's been taking care of a lot of things. And that right there just shows how much our family's been loved and through the situation for this past year. And it's overwhelming of the support that we get throughout the community, and you just can't be scared to ask for help, especially when you need it. And because even though you have a 9-to-5 job or whatever, it's not going to it's going to be good. And a lot of people don't have insurance. And so I'm not going to lie, we didn't have insurance at the time. And so we've slowly, and it helped that I got a large community with motorcycles. And so the motorcyclist community stepped up, and there are things out there in the community to reach out to the community when your family is in need, and you just got to find the correct resources. And don't be scared to ask about how to go about getting into those resources, you know. And so the support and care the Kimball family and Team Libby had and still has, we have a really strong support system. And I just want to thank, from the bottom of my heart, thank you everyone. And things happened that we didn't even know that happened, you know, with different families. We're on the verge of splitting up, and then when they found out Libby's story, it's like, you know what, I think we can make our marriage work. So, you know, and the stories that I hear, that I don't even know people, or some of these people, and the way that Libby's story has impacted their life.
And exactly, that you hit that nail on the head. There are different impacts of everybody's journey is different, and it may not resonate with Jay and what his family is going through, but it can impact another family that's going through something similar. That is something that I also had found out, you know, when my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer, you know, and it's like, well, I have lots of friends and I have lots of whatevers and people that I know, but how do I help my mom from afar? You know, so one person's story that goes out there, because I sometimes I get hate messages. Why are you showing your whole body? Well, first, I'm not showing my whole body.
Right.
I want you to see my scars. I want you to see the rawness, the truthful me and my dog cuddle it up on the bed, because, you know, I remember Mary Lee telling me, don't worry so much. Don't worry what other people think. You have to just continue doing what's best for you and for your family. And that was something that she had told me personally the time that I got to spend with her. And that is what has been my driving force even the last couple of years, that with my re-diagnosis, it was like, you know what? I'm going to put these pictures out here because it's not a free boob job. And I gained 20 pounds with COVID, and my skin is on fire right now because I had 2 treatments today, you know, that I'm not going to worry. I'm not going to worry because she said, don't worry, because you lose sight on different things. So Bob, that's you, right? You're the last one for this question.
Yeah, I am.
You know, so how do you handle your self-care, and what support do you have besides me yelling all the time?
No, so at first I buried a lot of it, like with other stuff that, you know, during deployments you bury it deep so it doesn't come back up. And then just talking with friends and people at work, going and lifting heavy stuff.
Yeah, there was times he was home and I'm like, shouldn't you just go back to work so you can talk to somebody else? He's looking at me because we're in the same room, guys.
Yeah.
So when you look over there, it looks weird.
It's so funny. It looks like you
So
guys
we're
are
in the
looking
same
at each
room.
other.
But you can't see that, but yeah. So I would tell him, I'm like, they gave you 6 weeks off, like, or not 6 weeks off. You kind of come in and check. I'm like, maybe you should go back to work.
Oh yeah, I get that a lot. It's like, isn't it time for you to go back to work?
I think maybe
yet?
you have something to do at work. And because I saw a difference when he went to work and talked to other people and did things and come back. So, I mean, you don't have to sulk with me.
I really, real quickly, I just want to say, this question came from one of the therapist friends that I had, and she had said, really to preface, and I wish I just forgot about it, but the reason why she asked the self-care question is she said to use the analogy of like when you fly a plane, like Bob knows, and if something happens, they say, you know, the mask drop down, and they say, put your mask on first and then put on the others. And she said, when you use that analogy, you're saying to them, that's where the self-care question comes, is when you taking care of yourself, which seems like it's a selfish thought, you know what I mean? You become stronger for the one that you're really caring for. And so I love that Bob says his self-care is he works out, because it allows him to kind of like regain, or you said, what did you say? Like lift heavy stuff? Like, you know what I mean? Is that's considered working out, right, Bob?
Yeah.
So,
sure.
but I just thought about that but you know, I've always struggled with that because I'm like, well, I want to help them first. And so, you know, she was saying, but sometimes that means you can't help them fully, or you can't help the other person that needs you. You can only help one person. But if you put the mask on yourself first, you can help everybody that you possibly can, because you've equipped yourself with that restoration or that, you know. So I like that Jay says, you know, hey, his self-care is going out with his family and living life, and that fills his bucket or his cup. And, you know, John, you find support with your family, you know, and that's important. And Ryan, you know, you have all these different communities that you're part of that gives you, I guess, that type of self-care that allows you to put on that airplane mask, right? So you can continue to help not just Libby, but, you know, your wife and the rest of your family. Anyway, just wanted to make sure I said that, but I think we're going to move into our last question, and Julie's going to ask that question.
I think so, because we're like 45 minutes in, guys. Yeah. Everybody's like, "How long is this going to be?" I'm like, "Oh, no more than
just 10 minutes."
But
10 minutes.
I think what's happened is the realization of the real talk that's needed to share. You know, So John, I would ask you.
I'm getting my self-care in.
Yes.
We're getting our self-care in, and we wanted to share this with everybody so they know. You know, John, what message would you want to give to another man who might be, or somebody else who might have, who is going through what you had went through with Mary Lee? You know, like if they're struggling, what words would you give them? What message? You know, kind of one of those, what did you know you didn't know you needed to know before kind of thing. What do you have to share with somebody who might be going through this?
All right. So I'll try to kind of keep it a little bit brief, so since I can ramble, so there's really kind of two main points I would hit, and it's accept and request help.
Ooh.
So it's as mentioned earlier, you know, as the men, as a husband, father, you take on the role. You're like, hey, I'm the fixer of things, and you know, this is just one of those things that you can't ultimately fix. But you know, part of all that, there's a lot of people who want to help. A lot don't even know what to do to help. So, if you're having, you know, maybe it's just, you know, coming over and um, hanging out with your survivor, like Julie was talking about, coming up and hanging out with Marilee, and then, you know, I'll take the kids out to do something, or I would go do something, whether it's for 10 minutes or, you know, an hour. So that's number one. Number two, don't. Number two would be do everything y'all want to do. If you're so it's hard. Like one of the hardest things I dealt with as we were going through was, you know, all the things that you know Marilee wanted to go and do, and of course when you go to do things, it costs money, and then and you have to take time away from work and everything. But if at all possible, you know, do it. If you got to max out a credit card to go
I
spend
can
that
tell you,
extra
even
time,
if
Yeah.
somebody
just
asks for,
do it.
yeah, somebody asks for money. I know that even if they didn't have money, John, I know that if I was to ask my mom that I needed some money because we really need this vacation, I know that she would do it. You know, so even when I put out please on Facebook and say, hey, for my birthday, please donate $20, it's because of exactly that. You know, we have the privilege of sponsoring you guys to the YSC conference. And I know that was a huge moment for y'all, not only to spend time as a family at Disney and SeaWorld and do all those things, but that you each got something from being at YSC. I think we took Jocelyn too, and that she even got to learn something from this other organization that we were able to help bring y'all together, because I didn't know I needed it way back when I started going to YSC. So yes, you got to live. And if you need a vacation, for anybody who's watching and listening now, and you don't have the money, ask somebody. I'm pretty sure somebody will throw something together to make it happen, because yes, the medical bills need to be paid. However, making those lasting memories is also so important. So important. Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
Don't wait. Don't wait. I mean, things can go the opposite direction really quick.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Jay, what about you?
Jay,
what message would you want to give other men and others that are going through this?
Yes. Is that it sucks. Let's just be honest there. But it's, you got to do
Not
you.
for those unicorns.
Yeah, no, there's no glitter here. No, so you got to really stay strong, because the people that you love need you. And it's difficult. And John had a good point with, don't refuse help. Don't refuse help. You know, we're more than willing to take on the world, but man, sometimes the world really kicks you down, and you just got to say, all right, I'll take the meal train, you know, or what have you. You know, I was fully like, I can cook, you know, but no, I was very appreciative of the meal train last week. Because
I like one less thing we got to worry about that is just.
And I didn't ask Nikki. I said, are you allergic to any foods? Is it just the four of y'all? What time do you eat? Was there something you don't like?
Yeah.
You know, I didn't ask.
No,
Just so
no,
you'll
and
know.
we do
Yeah.
appreciate it. Thank
Yeah.
Just
No.
something that's small. And Jay's like, I can make macaroni and cheese and hot dogs. And they're like,
you.
Yeah.
No,
I got it.
but take
Why
that
don't
help and
yeah.
stay strong.
Yeah, yes, I love that. I'm putting that down kind of as our little sticker. It does suck. He's saying, "Hey, I'm not going to sit here and paint rainbows and be like, it's going to be okay. You're great." Like realizing that it's hard. It is hard. It's
And
hard.
you know, and another thing, it is okay to have those bad days. I say it all the time, but it knows me.
Mhm.
It's okay to have those bad days. It's okay
Yeah.
to be in that bad moment. It is okay. Acknowledge it,
Mhm.
but get through it. Don't
Yeah.
stay in that dark place. Have
Yeah.
somebody help lift you up out of there.
Mhm.
Because processing those bad days and the days, I mean, I didn't come on the live, last week, I think it was, Selena.
I think so,
was
yeah.
like, I can't muster the strength just to sit in front of a camera and talk.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like I was just done for the day.
Yeah.
You know, and the show went on, but it's okay.
Mhm.
But get out of that dark place.
Yeah.
So what about you, Ryan? What message would you want to give to other men or other people that are going through this as co-survivors and struggling?
Quickly, I got 4 things. We've already talked about you have to surround yourself with a support system and find your own support system. Social media, and face-to-face family, and friends and church,
Mhm.
I mean, you have to surround yourself and find that support system. You have to be able to find out about all the resources that are in the community, that are available to you. We didn't know, and it was like, I knew I already had a good working relationship with Raising Cane's, and I had no idea that he was remotely on a board of something. And it was just like people kept opening their restaurants and their businesses up for us. And it's like, what? Why? And that was just something that they wanted to do. And don't be afraid to take on to take whatever people give you. Don't be afraid to ask questions, because you have to ask all the questions. As a dad and a father and a husband, I didn't know. And the one question that you don't ask is the one that doesn't get answered. And so you have to ask all the questions, because us men are constantly in our nothing box. And so we have to know everything, or I know I do. And I can't, like John said, you can't fix everything. You can't fix it. And the last thing is it may seem overwhelming, but don't try to overwhelm yourself with all the things. And we all have a different journey. Libby's journey is different than everyone else's, and so you have to take your journey one day at a time and one little thing at a time.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
That was good stuff, Ryan.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys, I mean, we're getting on to Bob, but I think the kicker here that John, Jay, and Ryan have provided is don't be afraid to ask. And I know that maybe as, in the role that you guys are as the men of the home, it could be hard to do that, right? I mean, my husband doesn't like to ask for directions because he's got it. You know what I mean? So that's just a simple task. So I can only imagine what a harder question would be. So I think I like that you guys are encouraging others to, just ask. You know what I mean? All right, Julie, let's bring on
Okay,
Bob.
Bob. All right, Bob. You're it.
Yeah, so, I mean, they've hit a lot of the key points that I was going to mention, but another one, be patient. Because
So good.
they're not going to always know what they want, or it's too hot in the house, it's too cold, just
the pillow's not fluffed right.
yeah. But just be patient,
Yeah.
taking a deep breath, and listen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, listening is a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Julie is surprised that I'm saying that, but I mean, let's face it. All of us here we're always expecting something to happen to us.
Mm-hmm.
Never our spouse or the kids. The line of work that we chose to do, it's a given. Something might happen to us, so we're prepared.
Yeah.
But when it happens to the spouse or the child, it's just
It's a lot.
Good point. Very good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good point. And so I will kind of wrap this up with this.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with asking for help. There's nothing wrong with getting your mental health in check.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the last year that we've had, and we were all so isolated from everybody, and we're all on a screen like we are now. But it's important to go see a therapist.
Yeah.
As a family, as an individual, or even if pending death is happening, the unfortunate inevitable that we don't want. I know at YSC when Mary Lee and John did go, it was about what is your legacy?
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to be known for should you leave the earth today? And that's important because I'm a giver naturally. And so that's Pink Wear Angels that's kind of the thing that we do. But it's not that we need to be in everybody's business. It is that we are there to help, because sometimes we just don't know that's what we need. So anybody who's listening and watching today, ask for help, even if it's a text message to me or to anybody. So you don't have to have that phone call or the face-to-face, because we're so technology nowadays that sometimes it's easier to send a text. I sit down once a week and I text a random set of survivors that we have in our group, just say, hey, how are you doing today?
Mm-hmm.
And they do it back to me too, especially right now. Or John or Bob or, Ryan, how many times did I message the Kimball family before they even responded? Because I knew that there was help that was needed, and it's like, we have something and we're a little different, but we can help, so if anything, we are all here. And if you're watching today or live or even on a replay or somewhere throughout the internet, because this is going on YouTube, and you have questions and want to connect with one of these guys, we can get you connected if they want to do that. From breast cancer to childhood cancer to metastatic breast cancer and my reoccurrence. I hit 7 years and had a reoccurrence. So I'm a little different, although we celebrate Nikki hitting her 5 years, because that is a huge milestone, So we're here and would love to do more on the guy side of things, because there's always the woman side of things. But, we do have a co-survivor group. It's very quiet, but I want to change that. I want that to happen. So should they need each other, they're there for each other. Or if they want to get together and grab a drink at Pluckers, that they can do so, the guy stuff, whatever guy stuff they do nowadays. So, it's thank you to each and every one of you for being vulnerable, for being candid, for coming and sharing your story. Because I know it's important, and thank you for saying yes to me. And I hope you said it not because it was me going, oh my God, she's asking for something again.
Right.
I had a choice.
Bob's the only one that did not have a choice, just so y'all know. Wait, he's on this side of the screen. Just so you know, he didn't have a choice. The rest of y'all did. But it's
there you go.
Get out of my screen. But it's important that we have these conversations, even for those who are watching and don't have any cancer in their family. Don't feel sorry for us.
No, right.
empower us.
Yeah.
Let's do great things.
You know what, before we get off real fast, we had just talked with Ryan, but Ryan has partnered up with Julie and the organization. I'm going to just real quickly before I just was like, oh yeah, that's right. We want to talk about this. But Ryan, why don't you?
I forgot.
That's where I come in. Ryan, why don't you tell everybody kind of an event that is happening that you would love, to see people at, or how they can help, all the things.
I'm coming for the barbecue.
Oh, yes. May 1st from noon to 4, we're having Iron Horse Disciples Motorcycle Ministry is partnering up with Pink Warrior Angels of Texas.
Yes.
And I can't wait. This will be our first year, actually, this partnership. And it's surreal, And so thanks for everything that Pink Warrior Angels has done and will do. Temple, Horny Toad, Harley Davidson. We're having live music. We're having food trucks. We're having all the things. And so we're going to raise money for Pink Warrior Angels. And so this year, we normally do it for Angel Tree for Christmas, but this year we're doing it for Pink Warrior Angels of Texas.
Yay. And is that the website they can get more information at, Ryan?
Yes. If it's not on there, I'll make sure it gets on there.
It's definitely on. It's on our website as well too, Selena.
Sweet.
And it's already on. It's on our Facebook. We're connected together with them, and so there's a flyer, and that'll start coming out more often. So everybody will get to see that. But like I said, I'm going for the bar.
Awesome. Yeah. Again, you guys, I know. Okay, we're wrapping this up. Maybe we had to finagle you into an hour-long conversation that we knew probably would be an hour, but if we don't tell you, it's okay. Thank you for having the conversation, and I think that's like the biggest thing. You guys coming on is going to help somebody that may be really struggling, that needed to hear the things that you have said today. And I don't know if you realize how impactful that can be. And so from Julie and I, we really appreciate your time, your vulnerability, sharing how it really is, and we hope that we can have another conversation like this, because I think it's important, especially as a co-survivor and and a male. I think it's hard because, you guys tend to take on things yourself without getting the support that you really, truly need. So I think if you're all down for it, we'll definitely have to have you guys back on, because this is a fantastic conversation.
Yeah.
I can't say no to Julie.
Yeah, right. That's awesome. We're going to use that. Yeah. Bob's like over there. Yeah. So John, Bob, Ryan, Jay, thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts for coming on today. So, and thank you for everybody that tuned in for today's show. And, please show the guys some love in the comment section so they can kind of look back on it. Because I'm sure that'll be great. Feed the bucket for them too. So.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
And thank you to Crystal again. Mahalo,
Thanks,
Crystal. Yay. Yeah. So thank you. We're going to end our broadcast. She's going to click that button and take us out. So thanks, everybody.